They called her a bureaucratic fossil. But that morning, inside a base built for hunters, the laughter didn't last long. Major Ana Kovács was 52, carrying 2 duffels and a long rifle case that seemed welded to her hand. The thin air of FOB Ironcrest, 10,000 feet up, cut like broken glass in her lungs. But her stride was steady, deliberate, around her. Young soldiers paused to watch. Their eyes were knives amused, dismissive, the look you give to someone who doesn't belong. To them, she was a relic shoved into their world of carbon fiber and ballistic computers. Ironcrest itself was nothing but gravel and Hesco scars clinging to a desolate ridge. Yet inside its wire lived apex predators, marine snipers, SEAL sharpshooters, Army Recon marksmen. They carried rifles that cost more than cars, scopes that whispered firing solutions, drones that mapped the sky. And into this cage of lions, Ana had been sent with a title so bureaucratic it was almost an insult, liaison and logistics officer. Her quarters were set apart. A prefab container exiled from the sniper barracks. Sterile, cold, deliberately marginal. She unpacked with surgical precision uniforms folded sharp. Books stacked neat. Then the case laid across her cot like an altar offering. She unlatched it with reverence. Inside lay a Dragunov, old bones rebuilt with modern steel. Its free-floated barrel and Schmidt & Bender optic a quiet defiance against the platoon's carbon fiber arsenal. To Ana, it was no museum piece. It was a living tongue, the mountain's language, waiting to be read. Outside the thin window, laughter rolled back from the mess hall lions in their prime, mocking the ghost in their midst. The next morning, dismissal took flesh. Master Sergeant Marcus Thorne, 32, granite carved, with an ego to match, blocked her doorway. His gaze slid to the Dragunov in parts across her cot. A smirk formed. Major Kovács, he said, the rank like an accusation. 10 years behind a desk. Not much call for high-angle ballistics in the Pentagon basement. He jerked his chin at the rifle. What is that thing? Did you win it in a raffle? Ana didn't flinch. Her voice was quiet steel. Designated marksman rifle. Reliable in extremes. Thorne's laugh was sharp, dismissive. We run high-tempo ops here. Ballistic computers, laser rangefinders, rifles that talk to our tablets. We don't babysit fossils. Supply depots next to the motor pool. Corporal Carter will show you the sheets. He left without waiting for her answer. Ana closed the Dragunov with a final metallic click, the sound echoing in the small container like a verdict. Outside, the base hummed with routine, but beyond the ridgeline, a storm was gathering, and it would demand a language only she could speak. Where are you watching from? Drop it in the comments. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you never miss the next untold military story from Quiet Valor Stories. They made a creed out of their machines in the loading bay. Thorne's men moved like priests in ritual rangefinders ticking, kestrel meters spilling digits, ballistic tablets glowing with neat solutions. The Remington M2010s gleamed across their bipods like promises of certainty. On the Tosi wall, the RQ-7 Shadow's feed scrolled cold in blue angles. Vectors, equations pretending the world could be solved. From the shadows of the supply depot. Major Ana Kovács watched with hands still scented of oil and brass. Corporal Ben Carter kept his inventory neat, but his eyes kept straying to her. It wasn't the crates she inspected, it was how she studied the range, where others checked screens. She watched the land itself, a hawk riding a thermal, a dust devil stumbling before collapse, heat shimmer crawling a rock face. To Ana, the mountain wasn't noise, it was grammar. The briefing was clipped. Efficient, high-value target. Call sign, Lone Wolf. Fortified inside the Serpent's Tooth. Distance 1,250 meters. Wind erratic, 20 to 30 knots. ricocheting off canyon walls. Thorn paced with the commander's confidence. "South Ridge gives us a lane," he declared, and the overlays obeyed. Alpha team deployed with calm, drilled into bone. Boots crunched, voices clipped and precise. The shadow rose to orbit. The TOC settled into the hum of waiting. Outside. The storm rolled in early, something the computers modeled poorly and the mountain modeled perfectly. 90 minutes stretched into a machine of anxiety. Numbers jittered. Feeds glitched. Solutions bloomed and died in seconds. Coffee cups emptied. Patience frayed. Ana didn't fidget. She breathed the thin air, flicked a pinch of dust into light, read the lean of a boulder's shadow. Corrections lined themselves in her mind, cold, clean, uninvited. She said nothing. Then Alpha's voice crackled through static. "We have eyes on Lone Wolf. Solutions unstable, mirage boiling like shooting through water." Thorn's hand froze on his headset. The room held its breath. Outside, in the purple storm light, the mirage bent and a shot cracked from nowhere. Finding a path no equation had drawn, the grainy drone feed quivered, crosshairs holding the compound courtyard. Lone Wolf, flanked by guards, strode toward a waiting vehicle. This was it, Alpha's moment. Taking the shot. The sniper called. The TOC froze. Crack, then nothing. The round sailed high and right. On screen. Guards yanked the HVT back inside. The chance was gone. Shouts exploded. Fingers jabbed screens. Thorn's fist slammed the console. How the hell do you miss? The room pitched into chaos until Ana moved. She didn't hurry. She crossed the floor with steady purpose, as if the failure had been inevitable. At the comms console, a lieutenant gave way, stunned by her composure. Ana's gaze flicked over the erratic gauges, the canyon maps, broken lines. She keyed the net. Her voice was soft, but cut through the panic. "Alpha, this is Major Kovács. Report position." A pause. Then the spotter's voice cracked back South Ridge. "Bearing 340. Ana traced the contours. "You're reading only primary wind. A rotor off the cliff face is throwing an updraft you can't see." Thorn spun, eyes blazing. "Major, stand down, you're not cleared." But the colonel lifted a hand. "Correction." Major Ana didn't glance at him. She leaned to the mic. "Alpha, disregard your computers. 3 gusts, then a lull. On that lull, 2 mils left, 0.3 high. Fire on my mark." Static hummed. The sniper's doubt bled through. "Major, that's trust me." She cut him off. It wasn't a plea. It was law. On screen. The reticle drifted wide, so wide it looked absurd. Men in the talkie muttered. She was lining up a miss. Ana's eyes narrowed on the monitors. First gust. Second, third hold. Fire. The rifle cracked. Dust bloomed exactly where she'd called 2 feet left. A foot high, and in that heartbeat. Lone Wolf stepped from cover, maybe believing danger had passed. He dropped instantly. No stagger. No chance to retreat. Just silence and a body in the dust. The TOC went still. Even the electronics seemed to hush. Then Alpha's spotter, voice trembling, target down, HVT neutralized. My God, perfect hit. Around Ana, the whispers shifted. No longer dismissive, now reverent, edged with fear. And above it all, one unspoken question hung heavy. Who had trained her? The base felt altered after the hit. The impossible shot had unsettled the order of things. Soldiers didn't joke as freely. Conversations bent around her presence. Corporal Ben Carter caught himself watching Ana with the cautious awe reserved for monuments. Marcus Thorn didn't accept it easily. Pride is a weathered thing. It offers shelter until it doesn't. He replayed the feed until the angles in his head hurt, then pulled post-mission atmospherics and reconciled numbers with dust. The correction Ana gave 2 mils left. .3 high on a 3-gust lull should have been blasphemy. Instead, it sat in the data like a door unlocked. For the first time in a long time. Thorn felt the floor vanish under an old certainty. He went looking for answers in the one place a warrior seeks the record. What he found was not absence, but erasure. Her file existed as a skeleton name. Rank. Dates, but the meat of service was black bars and stamped classification Project Spectre. Eyes only. Commendations were listed and then redacted. Deployment locations were inked out. Training courses appeared as ghost titles. The ledger had been deliberately buried. Someone had taken care to unmake her in every searchable archive. The chill that crawled up Thorn's spine had little to do with secrecy and everything to do with being outmatched by something older than his pride. Then the reprisal arrived with the subtlety of a trapdoor. Neutralizing Lone Wolf didn't sever the snake. It provoked it. Within 48 hours, Alpha's shadowed advantage became their vulnerability, while scouting a new overwatch. The team walked into a net they hadn't seen being woven. The first shot came like a question no one could answer, high velocity, precise, cruel. The radio screamed. A man went down, a leg torn by a round that came out of nowhere. The shale screamed with the sound of bodies hitting earth. Drones climbed, thermal arrays blinked, acoustic sensors tried to triangulate a ghost. Every system Thorn trusted pinged and failed. The opposing rock face was a puzzle of shadow and cliff, and the shooter call sign Jin moved like smoke. Every time a drone dipped for a look, a round thudded close enough to make the pilot pull back. Muzzle flash, none. Thermal signature, absent. The gun was wrapped in a heavy suppressor sleeve, an improvised water-cooled rig the engineers had seen in obscure field reports, trading mobility for stealth and leaving no breath of heat to betray it. Colonel Arthur Keene's face went hard. Men clustered around screens, watching feeds that resolved into static and questions. Thorn's jaw worked. Protocols narrowed his patience until there was nothing left but a plea. He crossed the tow sea with the slow humility of a man who'd run out of other options and stopped at Anna's map table. She was already there. Fingers on contour lines like a reader tracing a sentence. The comms played the tiny soundscape of firefights a crack. Then a delayed echo, and she listened as if those sounds had texture. Thorn's voice cracked when he spoke. "We can't find him. 30 minutes of daylight at best. After that, we're blind. My men are exposed. Can you help?" The room tightened around the question. Men looked at Anna not as an oddity anymore, but as their last lever. She didn't answer at once. Her gaze slid from the maps to the audio spectrogram, to the drone shadows, to a single dull smear on the feed that most had taken for a trick of light. Her lips formed something between a thought and a vow. Outside, the ridge breathed in the coming storm. Inside, the tow sea held its breath because whatever Ana Kovács was about to do would either draw fire to their only hope or pull a ghost into the light. The last echo of Jin's rifle cracked through the canyon, but this time Anna's voice cut sharper than the gunfire. Calm. Absolute. 2 clicks left. Point too high. He'll break cover in 3. 2. The counter-sniper's shot thundered. A plume of dust flared from the fissure, then silence. No return fire. Jin was gone. Inside the tow sea, the confirmation came crisp over the net target neutralized. "Hide exactly where you said." "Major, fortified spider hole, we'd never have seen it." What followed wasn't shock. It was reverence. The same men who had smirked at her arrival now looked at Major Ana Kovács as if they were standing in the presence of something carved into the very bones of war. She didn't posture, didn't claim their awe. She simply bore it, each step carrying the quiet weight of truth as she walked through the crowd and out into the night. Thorn's salute lingered long after she passed slow. Precise. More prayer than protocol. For the first time in his career, he had saluted not a rank, but a master. At dawn, the world was rinsed clean. Ana stood on the ridge, the valley glowing gold beneath her. In her hand, she held a single brass casing, cool and heavy. Not a trophy, but a reminder violence had been answered, and balance restored. She turned it once in her palm as though weighing the cost, her expression etched with quiet acceptance. Footsteps crunched behind her. Corporal Carter stood there, awkward yet earnest, holding 2 steaming mugs. The arrogance was gone. In its place was something closer to respect. He offered one out. Black coffee. Ma'am. Her lips curved into the faintest smile. She accepted, their fingers brushing. No questions about ghosts or call signs. No demands for secrets. Just silence shared across the horizon, a wordless passing of the torch. As the sun climbed higher, burning fire into the mountains. Ana Kovács was no longer a relic whispered about in barracks or a ghost buried in redacted files. She was the standard, the measure by which others would be judged. True mastery doesn't shout. Respect isn't taken, it's earned. Moment by moment. And sometimes, the most enduring legends are the ones who stand quietly, unseen, until the world has no choice but to see them.